Hey guys, this is John Cruz. Welcome to our video interview. I'm joined with Jerrod. We were stationed together in Incirlik, Turkey. He actually deployed over there when I was the unit deployment manager. That's how we met. And now he's retiring from the United States Air Force, and he's actually transitioning into a civilian role, specifically in sales and business. And throughout this video, we're going to discuss the internship program he's applying for and how it's very beneficial for you if you're a military member that is transitioning out to look into the program and sign up for the program, so that way you can take as much benefits from this program to successfully transition out. And with that being said, if you guys have any questions throughout the video, make sure you comment below. And then you also hit the subscribe button so you will be notified of every single video that I share, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any valuable information in the future. And with that being said, Jerrod, if you want to introduce yourself and get started on this video.
Thanks, John. Good to see you again. Name is Jerrod Gaertner, and as John mentioned, we spent some time together in 2016 in Incirlik, Turkey, worked a little bit side by side, and I moved on to returning to England and starting to really prepare for my retirement a couple of years in advance, and now it's coming to fruition. Staying in contact with John, I've reached out to offer to hopefully shed some light to the process that I've gone through over the last few months as I prepare to do a Skillbridge internship and retire from the military. I feel that I've spent months doing research and trying to find the best platform and way forward. And if I can help anyone kind of cut through some of the red tape by providing them information, that's the least I could do, because I've been very fortunate to find the right mentors in the civilian sector, those that have come before me and transitioned that have helped me. The least I could do is hopefully provide some information to help a current service member in their transition.
Yeah, of course. Knowledge definitely is power, and it really takes a lot for someone to join the military and then getting out of the military. It really takes help to get out of the military, and that guidance and mentorship. And I think that a lot of people are really going to benefit from the information you have to share with us. What did your military career look like throughout the Air Force? You're retiring at 20 years within security forces. Could you take us through where you started at in the military and to where we're at now?
Yeah, not a problem. I actually joined the military at 17, signing my contract the day after I turned 17.
Oh, wow.
Something that I wanted to do, but I actually had to wait just to be able to have my parents allow me to join. But once I shipped out, that was 13 months before September 11th. So it was definitely a different landscape of the military back then.
Okay.
But also went to security forces, was stationed then in California, had a good time, but I didn't join the military to see a state that anyone could fly to.
Yeah.
So I requested orders over and over and over again until finally somebody felt sorry for me and allowed me to go to Korea.
Oh,
and
wow.
I spent a year in South Korea, and that was my first real introduction to international travel. And that then put a real theme for the rest of my career and my personal life as well. So after South Korea, I went to Iceland.
Oh, wow.
Doing 2 tours there until that unit shut down. Then I went back to the States to Ohio. At that time, I became a military working dog handler, which was an amazingly fulfilling role. To wake up every day and work with dogs was just an absolute privilege. From Ohio, I went back to South Korea again. From South Korea on to Germany, Germany to Spain, Spain to England.
My God.
It was during that point that we did the little deployment that we ran into each other for the first time. And after my time in England, now I've moved and transitioned to Omaha, Nebraska, where I'm currently at this moment. Although I'll be retiring through a Skillbridge program, we can get into that. In 2 weeks, I'll be relocating back to Chicago, where I kind of started this whole career from.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's awesome. I thought I'd been stationed overseas for a long time, been only overseas. By the time I get out in June of 2021, I've been overseas 10 years. How many bases in total have you been to? I mean, that's a lot.
This is my 10th assignment in total, and
wow.
I've spent 14 years outside of the U.S. I've traveled to 69 countries. I would say only about a third of that had anything to do with the military. It's just once I was overseas, I really enjoyed
Personally traveling and
travel.
stuff.
So
Okay.
done a lot of it on my own.
Hmm. Awesome. So you said in 2 weeks you're going to retire. What date is that going to be exactly?
Well, the way it works, I'm going to be participating in a SCHWAB internship. What that is the military has recognized some service members will value work experience more than anything as they make their transition. That might be the hardest part of their journey to success as a civilian. They may have an education, they have tons of knowledge, skills, and abilities from their career in the military, but if they wanted to shift into a different role, having actual work experience is kind of vital.
Mm-hmm.
So about 5 years ago, Department of Defense created the SCHWAB Internship program. What that does is it allows a service member to separate from the military or retire from the military up to 6 months early while pursuing an internship or an apprenticeship, depending on what field, with a civilian company. So let's say, as an example, if you were in the Army and you were an 11 Bravo infantryman, but you sustain an injury that it now precludes you from being an infantryman any longer, you decide that you want to go into a trade, such as plumbing, as an example.
Mm-hmm.
You can use the SCHWAB program to actually separate out from the military up to 6 months early, participate in an apprenticeship program, and instead of being paid by the apprenticeship, you actually maintain your salary and benefits from the military. You're still technically active duty. You're still technically in the military. However, you're now reporting to a civilian employer, be it suit and tie or whatever type of work it is, and the appropriate uniform for that. You're still receiving the same pay for your pay grade, your housing allowance for whatever location that you are stationed at, even if you do move yourself to a different area. So I'll be starting a SCHWAB internship on the 18th of May. So I'll actually final out basically severing ties with my unit and everything that I have at the installation I'm stationed at. And I'll start this internship, but my actual effective retirement date will be 1 September.
Okay, then that's 6 months after the internship. So we're both kind of, I'm familiar with the SCHWAB program myself. I'm doing it myself too. I'm in the application process. So we're kind of doing it a little different. So since I'm overseas, the way I'm setting it out is so in June of 2021, that's my separation date, hardline date. January to May is when or I'd say January to April 30th, technically, is when I'm going to be doing my SCHWAB program. So I'm going to PCS, or not PCS, I'm going to go on a permissive TDY, and then I'll go through the SCHWAB program. And then after I complete it, I'll come back to Germany, and then I'll do my final out, and then I'll out process, and then finally move back to California.
Yeah, there's definitely an option
first, so right.
You can do it either way, just whatever's beneficial for the member. This is definitely a program that it's hugely beneficial to the service member, but it's the responsibility of the service member. The military is essentially saying, okay, we'll let you go work in the place you need to, and we'll keep paying you. I mean,
I think that's the best part of it, especially depending on the industry. If it's all commission.
I found when I was searching for internship roles, it just sounded too good to be true for a lot of HR managers. Like, I'm presenting, hey, here's my education, my resume, my background. I would like to possibly intern with you. However, the only stipulation is you can't pay me. I would like to come for free.
And who wouldn't jump at that as an employer, you know?
So a lot of this stuff is on the service member to do the research themselves. And there are plenty of groups out there. If you're on LinkedIn, there is a SCHWAB group that's there. People are actively sharing their experience, where they're at in the process. Also, other employers and whatnot that are participating in the program. That's a great resource and start. There is a DoD website. It's not entirely the most up-to-date when it comes to the employers that are on there, but again, it's up to the service member. So if you wanted to single out a specific location to go work at, there's nothing wrong with that. If I wanted to, say, do a SCHWAB internship with a professional baseball team, well, if I reached out, found a contact at that organization, discussed what the Skillbridge internship is, agreed upon a role with them that I would learn and potentially have a position secured after the internship, then boom, I now work for, childhood dream. I work for a professional baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
Anything is possible, but it's really on the member to put in the legwork.
No, that's true.
But there are organizations that'll help you with placement and whatnot. And one of the other reasons I wanted to jump on here with you is I went after internships on my own while applying for a fellowship through an organization called Hiring Our Heroes. That's actually part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And I wasn't sure, having never met anyone or known anyone to participate in anything like this, I had no idea if I would actually be accepted to their corporate fellowship. So I was reaching out to companies trying to secure a Skillbridge internship on my own in hopes that I would be picked up for this fellowship.
Mm.
I was. And then as I got to know more about the actual program, the people in it, I found that acceptance is pretty high if you meet the qualifications. For Hiring Our Heroes, you do need to have a bachelor's degree and have served at least one term enlistment or commission period in the military.
Okay.
Once you have your unit leadership sign off, basically stating if the individual is placed with a viable company, that they will be released from their unit to participate in Skillbridge. So for me, my application process was just waiting on my unit leadership to allow me to present them what my intentions were and for them to sign off on it.
Okay.
Once I was approved into Hiring Our Heroes, that's when I really started to realize what the scope of this program is. They are part of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, so they have a backing from an organization that is, obviously nationally known. Even if you're not in the business field, you've probably heard of the Chamber of Commerce before. They have networks and partnerships with companies that I, as an individual service member, wouldn't have a remote possibility of connecting to on my own, or at least at the same level. So they will take your resume, whichever version of it, and they'll provide you with programs to help you get up to speed on where you want it to be. And they'll put it live into their network with hundreds of potential employers throughout the country. You can specify where specifically you want to do your Skillbridge internship at. For me, in my case, it's Chicago, because that's what works best for me in my life, but anyone's open to wherever is best for them. And I specified the type of roles I'd be interested in, the location I wanted to work at, basic information of where I want to go, and a cover letter. Once that went live, companies would review it and reach out to me to schedule interviews. I went from a position where I was struggling to convince HR managers that I would have the ability to come work for them for free, to within about 2 weeks, literally having to diligently work my schedule so that I could do all the job interviews I was offered by different companies. Wow. Some of which being Fortune 500 companies, some of which had roles that, a Glassdoor search can show you how much potential salary. Mm-hmm. And it was very eye-opening. All of a sudden I went from, I hope I can find an internship, to, I'm going to have to figure out which one to accept.
Okay. So to clarify, so the difference, so there's two essentially. So the DoD Skillbridge program, we're both doing Skillbridge, but right. DoD Skillbridge, you're essentially doing the legwork, reaching out to the companies, trying to secure an internship position like what I have been doing with real estate. But if you go through Honor Our Heroes,
Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship, if you go through them, they do the legwork and they put your internship application into their system, which aligns you with several industries right. and companies and stuff. Wow. The best way to put it that I've found to try to explain it, because even Skillbridge is not well known throughout the DoD community. Skillbridge is your ability to leave the military, participate in an internship or an apprenticeship. So we're both doing SkillBridge.
Mm-hmm.
In the Air Force, it's a permissive TDY signed off by the unit commander. I know in the Army it requires an 06, and I'm not sure about the other branches, but again, up to the service member to research. But Hiring Our Heroes takes the SkillBridge intern, places them into a fellowship program, which also does include a onboarding period, additional education. They're not only just helping place you with the company, they're also going to be working with you one-on-one for things like, all right, you've been offered a role. How do you negotiate your salary? How do you secure the position you want? And things like that. Their main goal is to facilitate long-term employment for the transitioning service member, to place them in an internship role and have them secure that position. I'm not sure of the last cohort, because it's done in different cohorts throughout the year, one per quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the hiring percentage was, but I know it was very high.
Okay. Well,
So
I'll have to get that link from you after. And for those watching, I'm going to post a link down below for you guys that want to participate in the SkillBridge program and also go through Hiring Our Heroes Fellowship. I personally use Hiring Our Heroes as well for them to help me create my resume. Prior to me getting to real estate, I actually still wanted to stay within a government job. So I was looking at like FBI, CIA, all that. And I realized to myself, I was thinking, I'm still going to be working for someone else. I'm still going to be on someone else's time. I'm not going to be developing my own business and my own brand. So why would I put myself from my role now in security to essentially the same thing, but just a different organization? So that's when I was like, you know what? I need to find something where I can be my own boss, where I can make my own hours, where I determine how much I make and what my worth is in the marketplace. So that's when I transitioned over to real estate and also videography too. That's what I specialize in. And that's what I'm going to cater to. The market is real estate videography. But yeah, I will post those links below. So if you guys are watching this video, also comment what you are interested in applying for and what type of job you want to get out of the military when you separate. Jerrod, you mentioned going through the application process that you wanted to get into a sales career. What kind of job is it exactly, if you don't mind explaining?
So I feel very much the same way. I've loved my time in the Air Force. Being in security forces has been great. However, I'm ready to transition into a role that my direct compensation is based off of my own work and merit.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're also pretty savvy with personal finance. Having saved and invested since I was 17 and joining the military, I've placed myself in a financial situation that I don't have to seek employment immediately upon retirement, in the sense of I'm going to lose my roof over my head or anything like that. I can actually take my time and find the right role. Mm-hmm. I enjoy sales. So trying to find myself in a position that's going to be very rewarding for me, but may not actually come with the highest of compensation directly on separation, is not an issue for me. I can build my sales book. I can spend the time needed to really build myself in an organization until I start hitting commissions and things like that. Sales is an extremely underrepresented role when it comes to transitioning military members. I've used other transitioning resources and spoke to sales reps in the Chicago area who all kind of had the same underlying theme. I never thought I would end up in a sales role. And let me give another resource for you. There's an organization called Veterati, and I'll hook you up with the link. What that is, very simply put, connecting a transitioning service member with a mentor for a 1-hour phone call. The only real obligation is that you just speak to them for 1 hour. There are plenty of other wonderful mentorship programs out there. They usually have a longer commitment to it. But with Veterati, you're really just getting on the phone with somebody. You look at their profile based off their LinkedIn. You check out their calendar and decide, okay, I'm going to just ask this person direct questions about this specific role. or whatever it may be. And since it's only a 1 hour conversation and there's no commitment to anything further,
And it's free,
you
right?
get a lot more
1 hour
candid conversation.
Okay.
A lot of red tape gets cut through real quickly when it's just, hey, I would just really want to ask you, I'm planning on doing X, Y, and Z, and I want to do it in the same market you're in. What do you think my potential for success is? And I started reaching out to individuals that worked in sales roles in the Chicago area. First off, connected with a former A-10 pilot who, when he retired from the Air Force as a lieutenant colonel, never in his wildest dreams thought he would end up in a sales role, but now works enterprise sales for a tech company. Loves every minute of it. And as I talked to him, connected to other transitioned veterans that were already in sales roles, they all kind of had the same theme. Not a lot of people from the military consider going into a future in sales. They just find their way there eventually. So for me, I'm going to go ahead and do everything I can to go directly into that type of role.
Okay. And so with Veterati, I will post a link down below for that, for another supporting system for you that are transitioning out. You mentioned that it is a one-on-one consultation. Is that free or is that paid?
Yeah. It's a service member, it's free. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You just need to have a LinkedIn profile, simply put. That's how you create your account. Maybe 10 minutes of filling out some information on there. And I can't tell you how helpful that was to just get started. I had my own ideas based off of research on how my transition would go and the market I would be going into, things of that nature. But until you talk to people that are, as we would say, on the ground, but you don't really know. And you start to wonder too, what's my real net worth to employers?
Yep.
As an example, a misconception that I had was it's really important what my military rank was as I make this transition out. And I kind of thought, as I was looking at a lot of the people in the fellowship that I'm going to participate in, there's a lot of commissioned officers that are partaking in this. And I, as an enlisted member, never held a command, obviously. So I really wondered if that would be a hindrance because I'm coming from the enlisted side and, I didn't make it to E9 before retirement. Is that really going to affect me? And through Veterati and talking to people, I found very quickly that all the successful people there just only had one real theme that was in common, and that they all worked hard, but they all came from completely different backgrounds and job specialty, rank that they left the military, even time in the military. Some of them are retired after 20 years. Some of them had just done a 6-year stint. But it wasn't until I spoke to people that I knew that I can completely dispel this idea that my rank in transition mattered. And I was able to ask direct questions like that. One of the individuals stated pretty quickly, unless you're an E9 or an 06 or above, you're all in the same pool. If you have the educational background that's required for a position, you have the time in the military, and you have figured out how to translate transferable skills from your roles in the military to the role that you're looking for, we're all together then. You're on equal playing ground. It's just a interesting aspect of leaving the military. I mean, especially in other branches like the Army, if you walk down the hallway in a unit, you see somebody in uniform, you're looking at the rank on their chest, the tabs and badges that they have, whether or not they've been in combat.
You're already sizing them up and stuff, essentially.
And you see where you are in the hierarchy of service just by looking at them. And that just doesn't exist in the civilian world. You don't know, in my case, being in my late 30s, I could be walking down the hallway in a company and have no idea that the young kid I just passed is actually a senior manager in the company.
He's a CEO or whatever. Yeah, and that's the cool thing about the civilian world. You define your own worth, your own market, or your own value to the market.
And that's why sales for me is it's the priority of where I wish to transition to, because I'm ready to establish my own net worth. Not that anything's wrong with the way the military operates, or nothing wrong for me. I just find that I've secured my own financial future enough to the point that now I can go get at it and chase whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an exciting time.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've done our service, we've served our country, and there's nothing wrong with getting out and starting to focus on your future. It's not selfish at all. It's you focusing on your goals, your family, and just make sure you achieve financial freedom so you can become your own boss. And I feel like everyone wants to achieve that in a way in life, is becoming their own boss or achieving financial freedom so you can essentially do what you want and please, obviously within legal limits. But yeah, I think for me, myself, I didn't even know I'd be getting into sales and real estate. I mean, being an entrepreneur, I think so I actually started my entrepreneur journey when I first got to my first base in Aviano Air Base, Italy in 2011. I was young, dumb. I was a airman first class. I spent all my money on partying, alcohol, girls, the typical airman, life. And I found myself in debt. I never bought that Mustang at 30% APR like a lot of other fools did. I never fell into those pitfalls, but I found myself in that situation, living paycheck to paycheck. And I was wondering, how do I make more money in the military? I mean, obviously promotions in the military, that starting at that young rank, you're going to have to go through a time and grade. So that's not possible. So how else can I make money outside of the military channel? So that's when I started researching how to make money online. I got into affiliate marketing. I got into drop shipping. I got into some MLM bullshit too. That's multi-level marketing. I won't name the company, but they essentially had you show that you were traveling and you use that company to book discounted prices and stuff. I ended up getting out of that. But yeah, that's when I started my entrepreneur journey. I think I was 19 at the time. And ever since, that's been my main drive, is to get out of debt and live a life of financial freedom. And here we are today. I'd say I've been in 8.5 years now, about to be 9 in June. Here we are today. And I think that drive has really changed me a lot and pushed me to become a whole new person since I was first when I joined the military. So.
Oh, absolutely. I'll say it to anyone time and time again. The military has been fantastic and really set up amazing opportunities and benefits. I am finishing a 20-year career and retiring with a pension, it's like a godsend. I'm still part of the old retirement system, so I'm going to draw a pension for the rest of my life. No matter what, my wife and I know that the essentials of our bills will always be covered. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for that, but I just don't see a reason for me to stay 20 minutes past 20 years, because there's so many opportunities out there, and it's time to kind of get after what I want. Mm-hmm. Support my wife's career as well. And that was another factor for me in the decision to go into sales too, is my wife's given up so much for me so that I can reach my 20-year career goal. It's time for me to support her. Mm-hmm. And in doing that, I wanted to ensure that I found a field and role that if her career takes us to a different location, I will easily be able to find employment myself. Sales is going to exist everywhere. And my wife is also a foreign national. So pretty much sky's the limit for wherever we may go. I might have had a couple of cocktails and agreed that anywhere she gets a job, I'll move to, as long as I can veto the Middle East. So I don't know where we're going to end up. But with a sales background, there's absolute possibility I could work in any country in the world. Mm-hmm.
And with technology nowadays and the internet, you can virtually work anywhere. You can work from your home. You can work anywhere in the world, off from a laptop, as long as you have those skill sets. And I think a lot of people underutilize those skills they gain from the military, even myself. Within security forces, you don't realize that you have those skills. It's just not formally known as, oh, you have sales skills. You working the gate when you first start out as an airman, A1C, you have to provide that customer support or customer service to those people coming to the gate, checking those ID cards. You have to provide that friendly face, even though they're being assholes to you or asking or saying to stay warm when it's fucking cold outside. You have to keep that face and have that resiliency. And in sales and in customer service, that's a skill set, you know, and just being able to prioritize, manage your time, all of those skill sets, you learn all of that through the military, but you just don't realize it. And that's another good thing about hiring our heroes. They translate your EPRs, your enlisted performance reports, or OPRs, and they highlight what you did in the military and change all of that cryptic text, because the way you have to write EPRs out, it's pretty crazy. But they change all that text into plain English on a resume for you to show future employers what actual skill sets you have and what value you can provide to the table. And that's what I think is great about those websites.
A huge recommendation I have for anyone that's about to make the jump and transition is use these organizations, find a mentor that's already made the transition, and work on relating how your KSAs or knowledge, skills, and abilities from your career translate directly into the civilian sector. You have to be able to answer these questions for job interviews on the spot. But once you have the mindset to realize how something you may think is very specific, as an example, for an interview I did for a very large media company, it would have been more of a technical position. They were asking, tell me a time about when you were a technical expert and had to relay information to the stakeholders and change their decision-making process. To be honest, I was a dog handler. I was very much an operations manager throughout my career, but all right, technical expert. Now on the fly, because I had spent time reviewing my resume and also had spoken with mentors, I was able to pull the answer out. Well, when I was 19 years old, I was a tactical automated security systems operator. I mean, we don't even think about these things, but the alarm monitor in security forces that's just sitting there looking at a panel and thinks that their job doesn't matter. But the reality is, well, you're the certified person. You're now the technical expert. And I was a TAS operator in Korea when I was 19. But that was a time that I had to relay information to the flight commanders or platoon leader, whatever you want to, for each branch. But as a 19-year-old kid, I was doing the things that this communications company was actually asking about. If I didn't take the time to prepare for the transferable skills portion of interviews, it never would have occurred to me. But if you speak to these organizations, Hiring Our Heroes, Veterati, another great one is the American Corporate Partnership, where you end up partnering with a mentor for a year.
Oh, wow.
Who helps guide you through the transition.
Okay. I'll have to get that link for me too, and I'll post it below.
Yeah, they'll go really in depth to placing you with the right mentor that's usually rather senior in the type of field that you want to go into.
Okay.
So, you deal with the day-to-day life in the military and you don't realize that you're developing these skills. But once you sit down and put pen to paper, you find out, like, wow, I'm a lot more qualified than I ever realized.
Yeah, that's definitely true. And to close things out in my last remark, within security forces, going through the career field, I never really realized what post briefings were for. I mean, I still to this day, I do not agree with them. I absolutely hate them. I'm glad we don't do them at this space. But I realized looking back at it, it essentially, it teaches you public speaking in a way, and it forces you. I remember when I was a young A1C standing at the gate, and the flight chief would roll through, and I'd be like, oh shit, he's coming through the area. Let me announce him to there. And I'd stand at attention, they'd come up. I would be shaking. I'd be so afraid. And just because I hated public speaking, I think everyone in their own way, shape, or form does not like public speaking. Some people are better at it. I've even saw some reports that people are more afraid of public speaking than dying in a fire, which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I think that those post briefings actually help you with public speaking. I'm glad we don't do that over here, but that's the positive thing I look at it. Other than that, I don't see what else it does for you.
Specific to our career field in the Air Force, but that's the same branch wide. Like I spent quite a bit of time working with the Navy in Iceland, deployments with the Army. Yeah, you get up in front of your platoon and give a safety brief.
Yeah.
Well, you now are a public speaker. I mean, you are teaching and providing information in a public setting, but people don't always think about those things.
Mm-mm.
So I just implore anyone that's getting ready to make the transition to reach out to mentors that already have gone through this. If they've learned the hard way and are offering to show you the shortcut, take it. You still got to put a lot of work in, especially if you want to do a SCHWAB internship. This is very much on you, the member, but you could be spending 3 to 6 months. Really, I think it's minimum's 2 weeks, but you could be spending this time working in a corporate or a company's setting, literally gaining the skills that you need for full-time employment, and then have an offer and extended to you right from that internship.
Mm-hmm.
For some of the people in the fellowship that I'm participating in, one of the top employers right now is Amazon. They have a huge military hiring program. And a lot of these folks are going to be able to leave the military, still pull their salary, their housing allowance, and everything like that, go into an Amazon operational distribution center, see if that's the right type of fit for them, and possibly have an offer extended for what I would say is pretty good compensation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how much better can you be set up to literally start working for the company that you think you might want to, secure the position? You know, the old saying, like, you know, I walked out of the door on one company on Friday and started the next one on Monday. SCHWAB can put you into that position.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm blown away at how it is not more widely known and used in the military right now.
Nope. And I'm hoping this video really helps shed some light on that and shares with others this program and how they can take advantage of it. But to close things out, Jerrod, really thank you for sharing your experience with us and your story and your years of experience in the military and what your plan is when you get out and all of the resources that you shared too for other veterans and military members that are transitioning out. I think it's really going to help people out. It's going to help myself out too. Like, I did not know about hiring our Heroes Fellowship. I did not know about that program before. I was just going through the traditional Skillbridge program and reaching out to brokerages and stuff.
Yeah, you get on Hiring Our Heroes, you'll find quite a bit of information for all sorts of things. They even have a military spouse fellowship as well.
Okay.
To help military spouses secure positions. It's a great program. In closing, though, I also have to get out of here, but I'll drop you, if you want to just include my LinkedIn in your comments as well. Sure. If anybody has any questions, please reach out. Feel free. There is no bad question. I've spent about 6 months now treating this transition as a second full-time job. I've learned a lot by trial and error, but I feel like if anybody needs any help, I can help push the process along a lot faster for you than just reading constant articles and looking at different organizations and how legitimate is X, Y, and Z nonprofit compared to whatever. And of course, obviously, I'm championing Hiring Our Heroes, but there are a lot of other great programs I'm aware of as well. Mm-hmm. If anybody wants to reach out, I can help guide them the best I can.
Cool. Well, thank you, Jerrod, for your time. And for those of you viewing this video, make sure you check out the description below. We're going to post all those links down below to provide those resources to you so you guys can check that out. And also, if you are in the military and you are transitioning out, or you are a veteran and you're an entrepreneur in the military, or you're getting out of the military and you're pursuing entrepreneurship, be sure to join our Facebook group that we just created. It's called Vets to CEOs. I'll put a link in there below. It's a group where all of us veterans or even active duty military are collaborating together how to build a successful future, be it real estate, finance, investing, securing a better position in life as far as careers. Those are all things we discuss in those topics. And I'm sure Jerrod and I will discuss in the future different investing techniques and saving techniques, since he's been saving since he joined. And I wish I had that information when I was 18. But yeah, make sure you guys join that Facebook mentorship group. I'll post that below. And make sure you comment below too what you really loved about this video and what you found most beneficial and informative, because that really helps us out to understand what our viewers loved about it so we can make future videos on it. And with that being said, also make sure you like this video. It'll help the YouTube algorithm out. It'll help this video get promoted. Really helps the channel too. And subscribe, hit the notification bell. And yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this video with Jerrod and I. And we will be making future videos in the future. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to Jerrod or myself. And please let us know. Thank you all.